This video was posted online by Ukrainian serviceman Volodymyr Yanovich. It shows residents of the Kherson region walking across the fields to the Dnipropetrovsk region. These people are fleeing the occupation. They have neither personal belongings nor cars, because enemy artillery is aiming at them. And half an hour later, the Russian troops start shelling. A fire breaks out in the field, Yanovich writes.
Entered the village, took positions and stood there.
In the Kherson region, 44 settlements have already been liberated from Russian occupation, the military administration reports. A large part of the region continues to live under temporary occupation, but the Russian army hunts people even in liberated villages. The shelling does not stop, says acting head of the military administration Dmytro Butry. According to him, since the first days of March, there has not been a single green corridor in the region, neither for exit nor for entry. Even the Red Cross mission tried to enter the occupied territory of the Kherson region, but the Russian troops ordered them to turn around at the very first checkpoint. Only thanks to the volunteers, it was possible to deliver at least some humanitarian aid and sometimes take people out, Butry adds.
The local population is under constant pressure. This includes the introduction of the rubble zone, the kidnapping of people, and the assurance of Russian humanitarian aid on record. The occupiers constantly blocked various exit routes from the occupied territory. There were also cases of shedding of peaceful civilian transport convoys. There have been many civilian casualties already. There was only one exit to date, but it has stopped working for now. This is the Vasylivka district in the Zaporizhia direction. This road was more or less safe, but today the Russians there can also block the exit of our citizens. And there are no other ways, only through the Crimea. Dmytro Butry, acting head of the Kherson Regional Military Administration, in an interview with Union.
This is how stores in Kherson look now. Most prices are in rubles, however, one can pay in hryvnia at an incomparable rate. 1 kilogram of sweets costs 637 hryvnias, which is almost $22. A bar of soap costs 340 hryvnias, and before the invasion of the Russian army, it could be bought for 50. In place of the former shops, flea markets. A humanitarian catastrophe, living side by side with Russian occupiers who kidnap people with a pro-Ukrainian position and intimidate everyone else. However, this is not all that Ukrainians are trying to escape from, risking their lives. This is how the checkpoint of the occupiers in the village of Vasylivka looks like. Through it, Kherson residents are trying to get to Zaporizhia. Kherson journalist Oleg Baturin published the story of a local resident who got out through Vasylivka after 4 days of waiting. She drew up instructions on how to behave in order to leave.
We left Kherson on July 12th. We spent 4 days in Vasylivka. At first, we were 313th in the queue. On the second day, 202nd. On the third day, 116th. Our 10-person group left on July 15th. You can spend the night in the column, so we went to the village of Skelki. We spent the first night in a car near the store. On the second and third nights, we asked locals to let us in. I want to emphasize that the orcs are not Ukrainians. They absolutely do not care about you. Therefore, you should keep your emotions to yourself and not to make them angry. It affects how will you pass and how other people will pass. And there is an extremely large number of them in the convoy. When they asked where we were coming from and where we were going, we answered that we were going to our relatives. They asked what we didn't like about Kherson. We said that the surrounding area is restless and scary. If they tell you that you won't be let out, then say that you've heard that other people are being let out. President of Kherson in an interview with local journalist Oleg Baturin.
The process of evacuation of several tens of thousands of people from the temporarily occupied territories of the Kherson and Zaporizhia regions has begun, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister for Reintegration of the temporarily occupied territories Irina Vereshchuk stated. But according to her, the operation is going hard because the Russian army is blocking the way.
In turn, the Ukrainian authorities, together with volunteers, are trying in every possible way to help compatriots leave dangerous regions for government-controlled territory. We hope to break the blockade soon. Irina Vereshchuk, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister for Reintegration of the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine, in an interview with the Italian news agency Aden Kronos.
At the end of June, Irina Vereshchuk called on the residents of Kherson, especially families with children, to evacuate through the Crimea. The deoccupation of the region and the regional center Kherson is inevitable. About 15,000 Russian invaders are preparing for defense, said Alexei Arestovich, an advisor to the head of the president's office. The fewer civilians there are, the easier and faster the Ukrainian military will be able to deoccupy.
Leave, please, because our army will definitely deoccupy these lands. Our will is unshakable, and it will be very, very difficult to open a humanitarian corridor when there are children there. Irina Vereshchuk, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister for Reintegration of the Temporarily Occupied Territories of Ukraine, in an interview with the Italian news agency Adem Kronos.
Irina Vereshchuk says that residents of the occupied territories of the Kherson region should not believe the intimidation of the Russian army and cross the borders through the occupied Crimean Peninsula. As soon as Kherson residents enter the territory of third countries, they need to contact the consulate of any country or call the Ukrainian Ministry of Reintegration. The authorities of this country have to provide Ukraine with information about the evacuees and help with the documents. Ukraine, on the other hand, is willing to accept its citizens without any documents at all, and even with forcibly issued Russian passports. According to the Ministry of Reintegration, since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion, more than 350,000 Ukrainians have been evacuated from the occupied territories. Reported by Marina Stepanenko, Julia Bezborodko, UATV News.